Question 8.2 wants us to sketch the graph of f. Clearly indicate the intercept with the x-axis and the turning point. Okay, so let's start with the intercept. So our f of x is given by x minus 3 squared. Let's simplify this one first. Okay. So by looking at our equation, we can clearly see we do not have a y-intercept. We don't have a constant. So just by looking at it, we can tell that our y-intercept is at 0 because we don't have a constant. We don't have a c value there. So y-intercept would be at 0 and also 0. And as soon as you see that your y-intercept is at 0 and 0, it would definitely imply that one of your x-intercepts is at 0, but we can go ahead and calculate that. So let's go to the x-intercept, where our y now is equals to 0. So we have 0. Let's write it the other way around. So we have x minus 3 squared is equals to 0. So in order for this to be true, it's either x is equals to 0 or x minus 3 squared is equals to 0. Then here, as you can see, we have then assumed that we will have an intercept where x is equals to 0. And on this side, we will have x is equals to a positive 3. So we only have those two x-intercepts. So we have 0 and 0 as our x-intercept, and we have 3 and 0. So this square here tells us that this intercept is repeating itself twice. So we are most likely to find a turning point at that value. So let's now look at our turning points, which can be given by the second derivative. So when the second derivative is equals to 0, it means we are then at our turning point. So for the turning point, we already know we have a turning point at x is equals to 1 and f is equals to y. So there's our y value and there's our x value. And we know that the first derivative is equals to 0. So our first turning point, and our second turning point is over here, where x is equals to 3 and y is equals to 0. So now we have all the information that we need: the y-intercept, our x-intercept, and our turning point. We can go to the graph and draw our graph out. And so we'll start with our y-intercept. You know, it's 0 and 0. So let's get a nice marker there. Should be at that value there. Then we go to our x-intercepts. We should be at 0 and 0, and also 3 and 0. Then we go to our turning points. So let's mark those in. We already have that marker there, and then we'll have this marker over here. Okay, then we have our turning point. We have 1 and 4, and we have 3 and 0. Okay, let's mark those also. So that one is already marked. We have 1 and 4 over here. And let's also remember there's a point of inflation at 2. Let's actually find the value. So we have 2, 2, 2 minus 3 squared, giving us 1, 32. So we have also a point of inflation. So we expect that at this point over here, we should be turning from a concave down to a concave up, right? So we can draw it like that, go all the way to our turning point, come down, and then come down, and yeah, like this. There's our nice graph.